When I found out I was going to be a parent, I immediately felt a lot of anxiety and worry. So I went on to BetterHelp to try to look for a therapist to help me with that.
My relationship with my family and with my boyfriend and with myself were suffering. I really needed help.
I was ruminating a lot. Really getting those thoughts out to a therapist and getting feedback was just life-changing.
Discover what BetterHelp Online Therapy can do for you. Visit BetterHelp.com today.
Welcome to the Instagram Stories for Wednesday, May 18th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. The biggest news of the day, by far, is the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, recently did a TED Talk, and that TED Talk is now available for you to watch. It is long in the sense that it's about 13 minutes, and this flash briefing is typically between 3 and 5 minutes, so I certainly can't play the whole thing. However, I want to talk about the central theme of his TED Talk, which is a creator-led internet built on blockchain. And I want to give a little bit of background. What Adam Mosseri talks about in this video is what is generally referred to as Web 3. Here's a little bit of history of that term Web 3, okay? First, Web 1, that was the initial foundation of the internet. We had just basic websites and things like that. Web 2 referred to when things became more consolidated and more centralized around big players like Facebook, Instagram, Google, Apple, and so on. Those major companies had all the control. Web 3 is decentralized, meaning it takes control away from those big companies. This is a problem inherently for someone like Adam Mosseri, who works at one of those big companies that controls the vast majority of Web 2.0. Why would they want you to be able to use any other platform? Or why would they want you to be able to take your data and leave and go somewhere else? They are incentivized to keep you on the platform so they can sell you more ads. Web 3 takes that power away from the large companies like Facebook and Google and so forth. Now that you have that background, here's a clip of Adam Mosseri talking about some of these fundamental changes in the future through Web 3.
Power is shifting. History has taught us that technology will take power from the establishment and give it to individuals, give it to people. This has been true since before the advent of the printing press, long before. But the path is not a straight line. There are always bumps and detours along the way, and the internet is no exception. The original promise of the internet was to push power down into the hands of people, into all of us. And it has. It has weakened yesterday's gatekeepers. Music labels, news publications, TV networks, they've all lost much of their power and prestige. But at the same time, the internet has created a new establishment. It's pushed power into the broadest of platforms, like Instagram. This was unexpected. But I believe that over the broad arc of history, that this unexpected outcome, this concentration of power in the hands of a handful of platforms, is not going to be a long-lasting trend. Over the next 10 years, we're going to see a dramatic shift in power away from platforms like the one that my team and I are responsible for, and to a group of people I like to describe as creators.
I'm going to pause there for a second so we can have a quick word from our sponsor, #Slayer.com. The Instagram Stories is sponsored by #Slayer.com, the easy Instagram hashtag tool that helps save you time and get more views. Do you hear a lot of people saying that hashtags are basically useless? That is wrong because you have not used #Slayer. If you did, you would not be saying that. Trust me. Start growing at #Slayer.com and upgrade using coupon code IGStories to get your first month completely free. And we're back. Let's have a little bit more from Adam Mosseri's TED Talk discussing how decentralized platforms will help creators in the future, despite the fact that he works for a centralized platform.
What if we imagine a world where creators actually owned their relationship with their audience? They didn't rent it, they owned it. And where all of us were invested in their success. A world where the platforms acted more like platforms because we can and should do more to support creators. It's been maybe 50 years since the birth of the internet, and we can all see how much it has affected almost every industry, particularly the attention-based industries. Music, news, TV, art, they've all been disrupted. Musicians like Childish Gambino and Frank Ocean and Chance the Rapper, they found ways to reach an audience without a label. When Jessica Yellen was the chief White House correspondent for CNN back in 2012, that network averaged about 670,000 viewers. Today, she reaches nearly that many people on Instagram alone. Star athletes are more relevant than the teams that they play for, which would have been unheard of 50 years ago. LeBron James has more followers on Instagram than the Lakers do. Cristiano Ronaldo makes more on Instagram, it's been reported, than he did from Juventus. Okay, so I and my team, we work at the point where creators and audiences meet. And platforms like Instagram have done a lot to empower creators over the last 10 years. My team is obsessed with finding more ways to support creators. But if we accept that as power continues to shift towards creators, or that that's going to happen because technology will continue to change, then we're going to have to rethink some things. Because today, creators are too dependent on too few platforms. And our role as platforms has to change. Now, I'm not saying that platforms are going to go away. New platforms will certainly rise, old platforms will certainly fall. But all platforms will, and you're already seeing this happen, understand the value that creators create. And so they'll be increasingly interested in handing more power over to creators. Now, you might think, or this might be surprising coming from me, but I think this is actually a really good thing. I think that over the long run, what's best for creators is going to be best for platforms like the one I'm responsible for. The more art there is, the more there's an exchange of ideas, the more creativity there is in the world, the better off we all are.
There's so much there. I want to just keep playing this audio, but I'll continue it tomorrow. There's so much to digest and unpack. I'm very surprised that he is talking so candidly about the limitations that Instagram has put on creators leading up until this point and how really you don't own your audience, but he sees that as something that needs to be fixed. Very excited for the future. Come back tomorrow. We'll listen to more of this TED Talk, digest more of it, and explain how it's relevant for us today. It's really not. I think it's going to be 10 years down the road, but be sure to come back tomorrow for that.
I'm not yet a member of the Instagram team, but my podcast covers many Instagram themes. But the name, image, logos are trademarks at Instagram and the LCC in the USA and every territory. Everything I publish independently until Zuck returns my DMs and starts to pay my salary. Not sponsored or endorsed, no lies, no fallacies. I use their logo with permission, not malicious or callously. No trademark violation, filling all criteria. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Daniel Hill Media.
When I found out I was going to be a parent, I immediately felt a lot of anxiety and worry. So I went on to BetterHelp to try to look for a therapist to help me with that.
My relationship with my family and with my boyfriend and with myself were suffering. I really needed help.
I was ruminating a lot. Really getting those thoughts out to a therapist and getting feedback was just life-changing.
Discover what BetterHelp Online Therapy can do for you. Visit BetterHelp.com today.